Let's bring in the Hall of Famer, two-time NBA champ, Chris Bosh. Good to talk to you again, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see you. Everything is going well.
How's the jumper right now?
Man, you know it is rusty. I haven't shot a jumper in a while.
How long did it take you to get used to your role with the Heat? Because you were all-star in Toronto. You put up big numbers, and then now you got to be the third guy.
Yeah,
and it's not as easy as it looks.
I didn't get used to it probably until we finally won the first championship, and then it was always one of those things where, you know, I constantly had to reinvent myself. I don't think I ever all the way got used to it because I had to morph, you know, and even on some nights, you know, it would change. So, you know, Bron or D might be out and I have to up, you know, my scoring. Some nights I would just set screens and be the big guy rolling down the paint and playing defense. Some days would just be, you know, we need you to guard the biggest guy and guard 50 screen and rolls. And, you know, that was one of the fascinating things I found from being with that team. But I would say in you know, just getting used to being uncomfortable, it definitely took more than one season. I would say a season and a half to kind of really fit into my role. And then even after that, I had to get used to things changing.
LeBron ever really get mad at you?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, you know, that's one of the parts of playing the game, right? If you're on a team with somebody, you're going to go through the whole wave of emotions. And I'm sure, you know, he was upset with me. I for sure was upset with him on many occasions, but we were always able to work it out, you know, work through communication. And it always came from a place to get better. That's what made it important.
What do you make of what happened with the Celtics? Here's Ainge, you know, leaving, Brad Stevens moving up. You have I thought you had a team that could win championships, plural, here with that young talent. And that, you know, that window of opportunity closes pretty quickly. Look at what the Nets have there in Brooklyn. So you're not going to be better than them. You're not better than the Sixers. So how would you look at the Celtics right now?
Well, they don't have to rebuild. You know, with Tatum and Brown, Marcus Smart, they have good young talent. They have a nucleus, I think, that they can build off of. I think definitely this year was a disappointment. I think they'll be the first to tell you that. They definitely underachieved this year, and then injuries started piling up, and it ended up being a disappointing season for them. But with the talent that they have to continue. I guess, you know, there were some things to figure out, obviously, right? But I think for them moving forward, they need to put the necessary pieces in place in order to be successful, obviously, right? But, I mean, they're right there. They have to continue to get better. Obviously, there's been a huge shakeup. I'm interested to see who will be the next hires for coaches and GMs and stuff like that, and filling in the rest of the gaps with the team.
Your best Miami Heat team against this Brooklyn Nets team.
Who would win?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a competitor, man. I always say we're going to win every single time. But I tell you, man, those the Nets, the more they play together, they'll get better and better. They're a tremendous offensive team.
So you got to guard Durant, right? You get Durant?
I mean, we probably move around. I would guard him a little, of course, or try to. Bron would guard him mostly, probably. Shane Battier would guard him quite a bit. But, yeah, that would be the fun part when they go small, and how dynamic the game would become and how we try to match up with that.
What's the most impressive performance that you ever witnessed, whether it was on, you know, with a teammate or the opposition?
Kobe scoring 81 points.
Oh,
I was in that game. I was a young fella in that game taking my beatings, man.
But what's that like, though? When do you realize, this is historical?
Yeah, it was surreal. I mean, once you realize that it's too late and it's Kobe, and I remember just kind of running down the court, and I kept looking up at the screen, and it's like his score was multiplying. I was like, how is he scoring 5 points at a time? Like, this is crazy. And it was, you know, we were a bad defensive team that year, and just, you know, we're trying to figure things out, and it's just like, oh my God, we're in the Staples Center, they're killing us, and everybody's laughing, and everybody except Kobe. He's just got the eye of the tiger right now, and he's unstoppable. It was just an incredible performance. It's one of those things where you find yourself watching even though you're in the game.
Do you think he could have scored 100?
Yeah, yeah, he's one of those guys. Yeah, So the funny thing about that story is like, I think a few weeks before, he had 61 3/4 on the Mavericks.
Yes.
And I was looking at that game. I said, what in the world are they doing? How do you let this guy score 60 points in 3/4? That's atrocious. Got smashed the next month. It was crazy, man.
I feel bad for Jalen Rose. Whenever the anniversary comes up, everybody wants to talk to Jalen because Jalen was trying to guard Kobe in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, he got a nice chunk of those points, man. Kobe gave it to everybody, man.
What was the second best performance you ever witnessed?
LeBron, Game 6 in Boston in 2012. By far.
What were his?
That was incredible.
What were his numbers in that? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I know I want to say 45.
Yeah.
I want to say he had 45 points. But I remember I had a sore groin, and of course, being down 3-2 going into Boston Garden, it's not in a situation you want to be in. And I just remember him being pretty confident, and I was ailing. I had a hurt groin, so I'm trying to figure out how I'm just even going to contribute. And so I'm playing with pain, and about midway through the second quarter, early in the second quarter, I was realizing like, man, this dude hasn't missed yet. And so I just got the hell out the way, and it made my job a little easier because I'm like, hey, if we keep getting stops, just give the ball to him, and we'll just continue riding this way. But it was an incredible performance.
Why do you think Paul Pierce doesn't like LeBron?
I don't think it's that he doesn't like him. I think it's just, extreme competitors.
There's bad blood, though, Chris.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, playoffs. When you play somebody so many times in the playoffs like they did, you're naturally just not going to like them. You don't have time to go to dinner or sit down. There's been plenty of Celtics that I don't like, and that's just how it goes. But Paul, he's a huge competitor. He wants to win, and if he doesn't, he's probably not in the best mood.
Who do you not like to this day?
No, well, nothing's bled over. Nothing's bled over. It's all good, man. I'm retired,
Well,
it's all good.
Okay, all right. You're good with Kevin Garnett?
Yeah. We were talking at the Hall of Fame after his induction. We got to chat, and like I said, we were extremely competitive, and we would chirp back and forth. But that was one of the best parts about being outside of the game is having the conversations. And that's the first thing I said to Kevin. I'm like, yo, you remember you used to foul me the whole game? They didn't call it, but we had a good time talking about those intense battles. It was a lot of fun.
KG would get in anybody's face, it felt like.
Oh, man, I had to stop talking to him. I stopped talking to him. During the game, I got involved in talking trash with him one time, and he got the best of me. And I said, you know what? That's never going to happen again. I overextended myself. I'm not a trash talker. Let me just go out here and play ball.
We're talking to Chris Bosh, who is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, won a couple of titles, and he's got a new book out. It's called Letters to a Young Athlete, now available online and wherever books are sold. What were you hoping to accomplish when you first started this project?
At first it was just more of a cathartic experience, just trying to get things off of my chest and trying to figure out what I'm going to do next with my life. After losing the game so quickly and not being able to play anymore because of my medical condition, I kind of had to rebound pretty quick. And, in trying to develop new habits and dive into those hobbies that I love and really, really dig deep and try to find those things, I was just trying to get things off my mind. And then it kind of transformed into helping a young athlete. The book is called Letters to a Young Athlete. So I wanted to speak to all generations, of course, but have that universal message to where, people can take it, whatever they want for themselves, look at the lessons that helped me get to this point today. And, hopefully it'll help them. So that's kind of how everything transformed. I wanted to leave a memento, if you will, for both the game of basketball and the game of life.
What kind of risk were you, like at worst, were you risking your life not knowing it when you were out on the floor?
It didn't get to that point. I was the first time. There were two conditions that happened with me, two instances. The first time I was, and I didn't know it. And then after that, pretty much when you get that second blood clot, it's nothing else to talk about. It's almost like you're radioactive. So, playing basketball pretty much was not in my best interest. I was told it wasn't in my family's best interest, and pretty much, a team being in a situation where they could be liable, they were not going to, deal with those things. And I eventually had to come to that realization.
Yeah, it's got to be tough because you want to play, but you have to understand that team doesn't want you out there. We've seen this happen with Hank Gathers, Reggie Lewis. There's been some athletes who passed away right in front of us. Absolutely.
And even the week before I was hospitalized for the first time, Jerome Kersey passed away from a blood clot, from a pulmonary embolism. And, that really, when you're younger, right, you don't think of those things. Yeah. You don't think it's going to happen to you. And then, next thing I know, I'm in a doctor's office and they're telling me all this information that I don't want to hear. And, I had to rebound from that. But all in all, I was able to kind of get back to my normal self with the help of my family, go on those quests to find out who I am and what I want to do with this life.
I'll leave you with this. Finish the sentence. If the Lakers don't get out of the first round,
expect them to make some big moves in the summertime. I think, it's been a rough go at it this year. They've been hampered by injuries. I think, we all see that they're not playing like they were last year. And even for Bron, he's struggled, especially I think that high ankle sprain took him out of his rhythm. I think for them, they'll have to add some more pieces and try to compete for a championship again next year.
But you were talking about playing that game in the Garden with a strained groin. And, AD wasn't able to play, but just how limited were you with an injury like that?
It's all the way limiting. And this is me when I tore my adductor muscle. That's pretty much what it was. And it was on Mother's Day. And it was game one of the second round. I tore it, and I didn't come back until the longest or the shortest I could rest was 3 weeks, and it hurt like hell still coming back. So in AD's situation, I really don't see him being able to come back from that. He'll have to rest, and he won't play till next season most likely.
He's Chris Bosh. The new book is Letters to a Young Athlete. Can't recommend it enough. Now available online wherever books are sold. Hope you're doing well, Chris. Congrats on everything, and we appreciate you joining us.